Hi everyone, my name is Nikolai and welcome to our credit card product spotlight. This is a new format that we've introduced to get our customers and interested parties up to speed about the developments at Circula. And today, Vasilis, our product lead, is with me. Vasilis has built the credit card product from the ground up, and it's going to be exciting. We are going to talk about the status quo of how most companies in Germany are managing their credit cards and the benefits that you can get from choosing a fully digital product like ours. We are then going to also talk about the different use cases, because credit cards should not only be used when you travel. There are other ways how you can make this really efficient in your finance department. And then we are going to briefly touch about a customer that is using our credit cards and how they went from having a big pain to actually having distributed 40 credit cards across the organization and still managed to make their monthly and closing on time. And then Vasilis is going to actually demonstrate the product live, and we'll show you a glimpse at how it is to use our product. So Vasilis, welcome. It's great to have you here, and I'm looking forward to learn more about how customers are using our credit cards and the benefits.
Hi, Nikolai. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, excited to talk about our credit card solution and the credit card landscape that we are having right now.
Awesome. Like, we started the company like a few years back, and I think over the last 5, 6, 7 years, you've seen that because of fintech innovations and new opportunities, it become possible to offer a much, much more superior experience to employees when they use credit cards, but especially also for the finance teams. So maybe in a nutshell, how is the status quo, and what is the world that we saw when we started building the product, and what are the advantages that you have when you use a card like ours?
Yeah. So if you look into the majority of German companies, they use credit cards from a traditional bank. So any of the brick and mortar banks that we know, they work with these companies to issue banks. What we noticed was that this way of using credit cards, it's not as efficient as it could be, and it also resulted in companies not really getting the maximum of what the concept of a credit card can do.
Yeah.
First of all, the first thing that we noticed was that the onboarding process with a traditional bank, it's very, very slow and very cumbersome. So it's literally bringing the papers to the bank, lots of them, and every time there's new requests and not an easy way for companies to do this. And the most interesting thing that we saw is that some banks actually will require a new application process and onboarding process for each new credit card that the company wants to issue. That results in companies really not having too many credit cards and limiting their use cases. And usually what we see is that these credit cards are given to executives of the company, of course, because they use them a lot and heavily, but that results in the rest of the employee force of the company not being able to use them. And there are some issues with this. The first issue, if an employee wants to travel, they have to pay out of their pocket, and then they have to reimburse them. And of course, as you can imagine, sometimes this travel can be expensive, and this is on the burden of the employee, which you never know what they're doing in life and if they need this money or not. And then the second and really interesting use case that we found was that there are other departments that need to pay for their tools that they're using. For example, their software. For example, the marketing department for any marketing expenses. And usually the most efficient way to pay for these things is through the use of credit cards. But now the employee does not have a credit card in order to pay for them. So what do? They go to their manager, and their manager will give them their own credit card details. We have talked to customers, and what we saw was that they literally told us, my manager gave me the card details on a post-it, and I have this on my post-it next to my screen, and I pay. This, as you can understand, it's a very, very also big security issue, and it does not scale, especially in companies that they have hundreds of employees. Now, this is the first part. The second part, it's literally of how companies manage and view their transactions and their data. So usually traditional banks do not offer a software to come with the use of credit cards. So a finance team cannot have access to what is going on during the month of this spend. So there's not a real live monitoring of the transactions. And also the reporting, it's, let me put it that way, a little bit of old school. It's a paper report that arrives at the company offices. At best, it's at the end of the month, but we know that sometimes the reports are from the 15th of one month to the 15th of the next month. And this, for many finance teams, it's a nightmare because usually most of companies have a month closing. So now you as a finance team have to wait until the 15th of the next month to get the report and then reconcile. And of course, because everything is in paper form, the reconciliation process, it's really hard. And finally, it's all about how efficient the company will operate in their financial processes. Because there is no software, employees need to hand in their receipts from the credit card payments manually. And then someone manually has to take them and process them. Now, as you can imagine, this takes a lot of time, and there is no also pre-accounting. Everything needs to be done completely manually. So we saw all these things, and we were like, okay, how can we make the life of these banks easier, of these customers easier? Now, number one, the onboarding process with our Circula credit cards, which is it's a fully digital solution, is completely digital and online, and it's also asynchronous. So there is a list of documents that need to be uploaded, but the company can just do this at their own time when they have these documents, because of course sometimes these documents need some time to collect them. Also, once a company is onboarded with credit cards, that's it. They do not need to have a new application process in order to issue new credit cards, which means that a company can issue as many credit cards as they need right from our software in a few clicks without having to ask us or anyone anymore. So they're completely autonomous. Now, usually traditional banks offer one type of a card, the typical plastic physical card. We, of course, offer a physical card, but we also offer virtual cards, which these are really, aimed at very specific use cases that I'm going to elaborate on in a bit. And, of course, our credit cards are built on top of our Circula expenses software, which means that if someone uses our credit cards, they will have all the benefits that the Circula expenses software has. So they don't need to have to chase receipts. Receipts can be uploaded directly in Circula, and Circula auto matches the receipts to each credit card expense. So it's much easier for employees to actually provide the information that the finance team needs. And of course, the finance team has a much easier job in doing the pre-accounting. So these are the main ways that we make the life of our customers easier.
Very good. Yeah, we just had this conversation also with Alina Naun, like the partner at Torque, and she was also saying if she thinks about any organization that she's working with that is scaling or just also reached a particular maturity, she's looking at things like accounts payable process to automate, but also credit card, because she says also like still so many companies or most companies are using like old school credit cards, and it creates such a pressure on the end of month closing. And what you also said, I remember also from the credit card that we used in the past, it was coming between the 10th and the 15th of a given month. And I mean, like I want to work on the business and not collect my receipts. But then on top of this, if it's coming late, it creates just additional pressure. And especially for organizations that have like a high degree of professionalism and standards when it comes to reporting, making sure that such things just work and you don't have to create like additional pressure for the finance teams is such a big makes such a big difference. So yeah, it's exciting to see that it all came to reality, and that's why we have so many customers using it already.
Yeah, exactly. And we have more than 500 customers that are using it already. We see this number growing rapidly. And to add on top of what you said, it's working and working also on time. You know, it's really, really important that the books close on time, especially for very, very big companies. And it's also, we see a lot that really companies want to give more credit cards, and they also want to have this sense of control when they have given these credit cards. And through our software, these companies can do this because they have an absolute overview at any point in time of what is going on, what was spent, where, why. And so this gives the security to finance teams that they don't have to chase and put out fires. They have really this control and stability. And we know that in finance teams, control and stability are two words that are extremely, extremely important. Yeah.
Like, I mean, we originally came with a focus on travel expenses as our core product. We offer benefits, and with credit card, we went like one step further in the value chain. Like a lot of our customers are still thinking of travel expenses as the predominant use case when it comes to credit cards. So maybe you can elaborate from the experience from all the conversations you had, like what are the other use cases where credit card makes so much sense and makes sense to use?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, traveling, it's one part, but if you ask me, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's really about all the other expenses that a company has way beyond travel. And let's start with software. So a given company will have around, let's say, 10 to 15 different tools that they're using, and maybe I'm actually not saying enough. And all of these, they have some fees that they need to be paid. The best way to do this is to have a credit card inside the software and then just let it automatically pay. And we, in order to do this, we have we're using our virtual cards. So our virtual cards are designed in a way where a company can label what is this virtual card used for. So for example, if you have a software, I don't know, like let's say Jira for software development companies. Now you can have a very specific virtual card that says Jira, and then you know as a finance team that this card is used to pay only for this, and this is a great way to categorize and have this control. And because a company can have as many cards as they want, they can just issue as many as virtual credit cards they need for the software. And this really gives this sense of control of what we're spending for this software, for the other software, and so on. And then there is also another use case that some employees don't need a credit card because they don't travel so much, or because they're not in a department that they need to spend money on behalf of their company, for example, marketing. However, it can happen that they will need to use a significant amount occasionally. Now, we have for this one-time virtual cards, which means that if one person needs a very specific amount one time, the finance team can issue a card with this amount that can be used only this time for one transaction, and then the card gets deactivated. So that is a little bit of the best of both worlds. So the employee doesn't need to have a card all the time, but when they need one, they can have it. And of course, let's go and talk a little bit about business travel as well. So imagine that you are, let's say, in another continent, and your flight gets cancelled, and you need to book another flight. And even let's say that if you had a traditional bank, your card will have a very specific limit. And if you're lucky enough, that limit is enough to buy a new flight. But sometimes it's not. What do you do there? Then what we do is we allow companies to change the limits of their cards, the total limit, the transaction limit, instantly. So in just a few clicks, in seconds, an employee that is on the ground can have more liquidity in order to do what they need to do. And that, I think it's very, very powerful. And to top that, our virtual cards, because they can be added to mobile wallets such as Google and Apple Pay, they can be issued instantly. So if an employee really needs a new card for whatever reason, and they also wanted to use it offline, we can issue a virtual card for them instantly. And they can pay also offline, where, of course, contactless payments are accepted.
I think what's also important to mention is that, like in general, like in this whole area of spend management, there are different providers on the market. And one big advantage that we have with Visa as our partner for the credit card is it's a real credit card. And this makes a big difference when you think about acceptance. If you think about like a car rental, or you think about a checkout at a hotel, like prepaid or debit cards sometimes get blocked or not accepted because like Visa suspects it could be fraud. So that's why they have their own logic. And that's something which is not happening with our credit cards because we have the highest level of acceptance. And the other thing maybe you can also briefly touch upon is that in general, like together with our partner Appliant, we have also like quite a flexibility when it comes to the limits. Because I remember from our own previous credit cards, we were limited to, I think, 30,000 a month. But if you scale the organization, if you're successful and you have higher spendings on software and ads, it easily can become like a 6-digit. And I think that we also have clients that have like even millions of like credit card limits per month. So like I think this is also one of the advantages that we have.
Yeah, exactly. It's let's say the limits are not really an issue here because we're working with the best partners in the market, so Visa and Pliant, and through them we have a very, very solid offering for our customers. So if a company wants to spend more, and of course they can, and as you said, it can touch 7-digit numbers, the company limits. And it's really, really important what you said about real credit cards, because it really, really can make a difference in some cases. Absolutely. So we think that the package that we have made, it's right now the best in the market when it comes to really, really utilizing what a credit card can do. And I think we're really scratching the surface here because through a digital solution, we are getting more and more and more and more capabilities in the future.
How like one other thing that maybe is worth mentioning is like we offer both credit and pre-fund. Like, can you maybe elaborate like quickly like the difference and like what it means for customers?
Yes. So just to be clear from the start, both our credit and pre-fund accounts have real credit cards. It's just how the account that is funding the credit card gets this liquidity. Of course, the credit account, it's the normal credit line that we know. The pre-funded account, it's not a credit line. The company tops up this account with their own funds, and then these funds are used for the credit cards that the employees use. But the credit card itself that comes from the card itself that comes from Visa, it is an actual credit card in both cases. So in the real world, it doesn't make any difference. And on top of that, and we will have very soon the ability to combine these things. So companies that have a credit account and will maybe need additional liquidity instantly for whatever reason, they can also top up their account. So they're not limited to the credit that they got. They will have. They will be able to add even more funds in case of an urgent liquidity need.
Maybe to wrap up, to give an example of one of our customers, Doctari. It's one of our larger clients. They basically were using a different spend management solution before they got in touch with us. And the reason why they decided that they wanted to switch is that the other provider didn't have like good interfaces to Dativ. So it was like quite hideous process for them to do like the actual accounting part. And first they were using us just for expenses. and over time they trusted the solution. And I remember Thorsten, the CFO, he was not reluctant, but he wanted to see like what would it mean to offer credit cards to the staff. And basically now they're using 40 credit cards across the organization, because they have many entities across Germany, and they have many people that travel for business purposes, but also use us for other use cases. And the only reason why he and the team was comfortable to go from one problem to potentially many problems is because they saw the amount of control they have, the amount of visibility, and also because it's a fully digital workflow where the pre-accounting is happening on the fly. It's actually not creating like this pressure situations at the end of the month. And I think this is one of the examples where you give more autonomy to the employees, you stay in control of the actual spend, and actually you make the whole process faster. And I think this is like one of those success stories where we went from replacing a spend management solution that didn't work, have like a really solid digital process, and now actually adding credit cards to this whole equation. So yeah, it's great to see like what we've built together, and how much money was processed already for our credit cards?
So since our launch, we have had more than 110 million processed through our credit cards, and as we're growing our customer base. As I said, we have more than 500 customers. We see this growing more and more and more. And it's very important to also mention another impact that we saw in our data, that through the use of credit cards, actually the expense submission happens much faster than a manual expense claim. When I say manual, is that you pay out of your pocket and then you claim this. And we saw that it's actually 3 days faster if you use a credit card, which it's
a big difference.
It's a very, very big difference. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, because I think this is also one of the advantages of having a credit card. You pay, you get a notification. So like it creates a new habit because people are more aware that, I just spent, so I should add the receipt. So yeah, it's great to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now looking forward to see the product live in demo.
Okay, so let's look at our credit card software. So you can see here our admin area. This is where company admins can view all the company's credit cards, they can manage them, they can issue new credit cards, and of course they can see their available limit and amount. So at the top we have this information: how much is the credit limit, how much money are available in a given time, and then how many active cards are there. And then as you can see, there is the list of all the cards that they have been issued with their status, active or pending, and so on. Then we have the tab where one can see all the transactions and the amount to whom this transaction was made, and also the admins can see, was this transaction submitted, as in was the receipt submitted, was the expense submitted, which is absolutely important. So with that, let's go and issue a new virtual card. So I click the button at the bottom right below, and then the first thing that one needs to do is select an employee. Let's say Kaya will get a new virtual card. We select the virtual card. As you can see here, there are also the other two options that we offer. And then at the top, a label can be added. So, for example, let's say Google Ads. So this card will be used to pay the Google Ads of the company, and then a card limit can be added. This is the total card limit, and then the frequency. So how often will this limit renew? And we have 4 options here. And also the transaction limit needs to be set. So in each single transaction, how much money can be spent. And finally, we have a validity period from 3 months to 3 years, making virtual cards really, really, really flexible in the use cases of the company. And just like that, card is issued. For security reasons, we have a 2FA process. So an admin needs to add the code that they receive in their phone. So I'm just going to add my code here right now. And that's it. the card is successfully issued. And then let's go and find it. And yeah, here is our card. And of course, now that it's active, the card can be locked or terminated from the admin area, which it makes it really useful for company admins to really control what's going on in the cards of the company. If there is an emergency, if something needs to be stopped, then immediately the admin can intervene and make sure that the spend of the company is not compromised. And now let's go to the side of the employee. I will actually show my production account of how a payment is made.
Yeah.
So yeah, yesterday in the morning I went to and had an espresso, and I paid with my Circula card with Apple Pay actually. And now, as you can see in my expenses, in my to-dos, I can immediately see these expenses that are made. And yeah, let's just open the expense. Before opening the expense, what I did was, after I paid, I got the receipt, and I just took a picture of it with my camera app and I uploaded it to Circula directly. This meant that it went to my Circula storage, and then it was automated immediately to my expense. So I didn't have to go open the expense and find it. I just took a picture, uploaded it in seconds on the spot. And now, as you can see here, this receipt is matched. We also show this in our software. And most of the information is there. So the invoice date, the merchant, the amount, the currency. And I just need to add some additional information, such as the category and the purpose. And that's it. I click submit, and it's done. Now, our finance team will be very happy with this. And yeah, this is how we submit an expense, but let's also show the area of credit cards of the employee. So as you can see here, I have 6 different credit cards. We're back into the demo account. This is my physical card. I can see the details by clicking here. I can lock, terminate it, or view the PIN. And on the top, I can really see immediately what is the purpose of each card because of the label. So for example, I'm a very big fan of pizza, so I have a card that I have a 700,000 limit only for pizza. Of course, this is a test account, and as you can see here, an employee can see all their cards and for what reasons they're using it. And then of course they can see their transactions, and within the transactions we connect these transactions to the actual expense. If an expense is not submitted yet, we let the user know. If it is submitted, we can actually just go and see this expense being submitted like this. And going back to the admin, this is a very quick overview of the main functionalities of our software. And stay tuned, because many exciting features are coming very soon.
Very cool. Thank you. And that's it. This was our product spotlight with a focus on credit card. Vasilis, many thanks for making this a reality and showing us what the credit card can achieve. And looking forward to see you again and tell you more about the things that we are shipping.